Hi. Hey, everyone. Happy Monday. Yeah, another Monday. Should be happy about that, right? So, it is Monday, right? Yeah, it's Monday. How you guys doing? So, today we're going to talk about pets in the spirit world. So, many of you know that I lost my dog recently and had a really hard time. And, as a medium, I bring in so many of your loved ones and your pets from the spirit world. And, they're wonderful communicators. Animals are wonderful communicators. And I always say you can communicate with anybody that there's a connection with love. I mean, you love your family, your parents, your friends, your animals. They're wonderful communicators. And through the years of doing readings, I've always brought forward a lot of animals and all kinds of animals, right? Horses, and I've brought them through a donkey and a parrot, and dogs and kittens and cats and wolves, many wolves, and all sorts of different animals, and all of them have been wonderful communicators. So there hasn't been any type of animal that wasn't a good communicator. So first there's that. But what I want to talk about tonight is a couple things, because as a medium, when my dog was, going to prepare to go to the spirit world, I really wanted to pay really close attention to the process. When my father went to the spirit world, I wasn't really working as a medium at that time, and I always wish I knew then what I know now in regards to the spirit world and transitioning to the spirit world and that whole process. And so when my dog was going to make her way there, I really paid attention to things. And so that's kind of really what I want to share tonight, is for any of you who have lost your animals, who went to the spirit world, or some of you guys who might have elderly animals that might be kind of starting to kind of edge into that time. This might be a helpful video for you. And I want to share my experiences, because all I can do is really share what I have learned. I can only share what has happened to me, the experiences I have had, and what I have seen and felt and heard. And so that's what I want to share tonight. And so I hope you guys get a little coffee and sit with me for just a minute. This is my new coffee mug, Be the Sunshine. So I love coffee mugs. You guys know that. Hi, guys. Let me just say hi to all of you. Hang on. I'm on Instagram and on Facebook. So let me just quickly say hi. We're going to get right into it. Hey, Lori. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Julie. Hi, Cassie. How are you? Hey, Joyce. How you guys doing? So thanks for joining in tonight. And I'm hoping that you're going to enjoy this. And hey, Pauline. How are you? Hi, Deanna. How are you? Hey, hey, Peggy, and hey, Pat, how are you guys over here joining in? Let me see all this. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to get kind of going. So first of all, I want to kind of start off by just sort of saying, I want to kind of give a shout out, first of all, because this whole process with Zoe transitioning, we did it with a company called Lap of Love. So some of you guys may know of that company, some of you may not. But, if you have any pets that this might, one day, be what goes on with you, I highly recommend you kind of look into them. It was such a wonderful experience. It wasn't the cheapest experience. It is, you could, lay your dog to rest a little less expensive. So it wasn't the cheapest, but I will say it was the most beautiful and most peaceful way. And so just kind of think about that. So anyway, Lap of Love was the company we used to help us bring Zozo to the spirit world. Also, I want to kind of put a shout out to Chewy. If any of you guys use that company, Chewy, to buy dog food or medications or anything like that. They were so lovely. They sent us flowers when we had to cancel her medication prescriptions and her dog food prescriptions. They sent us lovely flowers, and it was really thoughtful. They didn't have to do that, and it was really nice. And they sent a card also, and Lap of Love sent cards and emails and voicemails after the process, so they really kind of stayed connected, which I appreciated as well. Also, to all of you who wrote something on my page in regards to Zoe passing, I want to thank you so much. It meant everything to us, and I really wanted to talk about this live already a couple weeks ago, but I honestly didn't think I would be able to, because up until this point, I would still break down in tears every time I would talk about her. So anyway, but I feel kind of like ready now, and I thought this would be kind of a good live, as many of us have animals that we love, 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 and we all understand the love that an animal gives us. So I'm going to get kind of started. So what I really want to kind of do is, as I'm telling you the story of what happened with Zoe and our experience and me paying attention to the process of Zoe moving to the spirit world, I want you to consider that with your own animals, and envision that with your own animals, and also, down the road, if this should be something that you go through as well. And also for any of you that have gone through this, I want you to have hope and peace in your heart to know that all is well. And also, communication. Do animals communicate? Can they give us signs? And if so, what will they look like? Will they be kind of generic and kind of dog or cat or, horse kind of symbols? And no, animals are wonderful communicators. And honestly, they will give us signs just like our mom or our dad or our siblings or our loved ones in spirit do. And so that has been my experience, giving readings and bringing in animals, and also what Zoe has gifted us when she transitioned. So anyway, I hope you guys are excited for this. I hope you guys, hi, Evie. Zoe is there in, yes, Zoe is in spirit. Hi, Tracy, how are you? Hi, Evie, hi, Diane. How are you guys? Hey, Brenda. I'm glad that you'll find this to be helpful. Hey, Chris. How you guys doing? All of you guys. Hi to all of you. Shirley, how are you guys all? Julie, okay. So I want to get kind of going because I don't want to take up all your night. But it's important. I want you to kind of stay with me for this full thing, because you'll kind of get it all as all the pieces kind of come together. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of get going. So as you know, first of all, do dogs know that they're going to pass away? Yes. And how do I know that? Does a dog, does your animal, does your cat, do they know they're going to transition to the spirit world? Do they know it's coming? Do they know it's tomorrow or it's today or it's like that? I believe yes. Here's my experience. So the day before we laid Zoe to rest, it was a Thursday. And we had gotten a diagnosis from the vet that said that she had lymphoma, and it was very, very aggressive, and she was really declining quickly. But without that diagnosis, we didn't really feel comfortable really putting her down. The diagnosis was going to come like 5 days, and we had scheduled to lay her to rest because she really was struggling. But we just in our heart didn't feel right until we got the diagnosis. So the vet actually called us 5 days earlier than when the blood work was supposed to come back, which is like a saving grace because it really helped us make the decision much easier. That, it was just easier for our hearts. Anyway, so Thursday night, we take Zoe to Lazy Dog. And I talked about this, that some of you guys may know this, some of you don't, but I just want to kind of give you the full story so you can understand and put the pieces together when it comes to this whole process with our dogs going to the spirit world, or our animals going to the spirit world, our cats going to the spirit world. So we took her to Lazy Dog, and we gave her, Lazy Dog has a wonderful menu for dogs, and she got steak and rice and vegetables and all that. So we gave her a really great meal. We took her out for dinner on Thursday night before she passed. And then that night, my husband and I knew we were going to be laying her to rest the next day, and we were really just broken about it. It was just it was just really hard. We just didn't really want to do it. And anyway, so that night, see, I'm already going to start crying. See, I thought I was ready. I'm ready. Okay, I could do this. So that night when we went to bed, the dog always slept on our bed, and the dog always slept at the foot of the bed. But that night, the dog slept at the head with us, her head with our head. Honestly, I was bawling my eyes out that entire night. My husband was bawling his eyes out that entire night. The entire evening in bed until 3, 4 in the morning, we were up petting her, crying, crying, crying. The dog was literally consoling us. That dog was so with us, so absolutely spooning us, really, really just, she wouldn't stop giving love to us. It's like she knew we were sad. She knew we were in a really bad state emotionally. And she was really, honestly, saying goodbye to us. And honestly, that's what she was doing. She was giving us so much love. There was so much affection that was pouring out of her all night long. She was awake. I was awake. Joe was awake all night into the morning. And it was just a very special time and one I'll never forget. And the amount of love that was expressed was really overwhelming from her to us. And I'm thinking, gosh, here's our dog, right, who is getting ready to cross over. It's very clear she's aware of this. She's saying goodbye to us. It's very obvious. And here she is being there for us. Now, you can understand that, right? Being animal lovers and having pets, that our dogs, our cats, they love us so much. They give us so much unconditional love that even in that time when they know they're going to cross over, they're really there for us. And it was just such a selfless thing that she did to really be there to console my husband and I at that time. And it's something I'll always remember because it was just very unusual for her. She was always at the foot of the bed, and that night she just would not leave our faces. Anyway, so we get up in the morning, and it's the next day, and it's the day we're going to lay Zoe to rest. And I'm watching her. I'm paying attention to her. I'm trying to, watch her mannerisms, her maneuvers, how she's feeling, looking, acting, all of that. So I'm very attuned. I make her breakfast. I make her peanut butter toast. I make her bacon. She gets a great breakfast. She loves both of those things. So I make her a lovely breakfast. She loves it. I go about my day. She works in my office with me. I'm giving readings. She's next to me as she always is. And then it's a couple hours before the vet from Lap of Love is going to come to our home. And so my husband and I said, okay, it's 3 o'clock. Let's take her to the park one more time. She went to the park every single day. And this is where I started noticing a change happening around her and things changing. So we take her to the park and she goes every single day. And she's not walking very well. Her back legs, her front legs, she's very weak. So we thought, okay, even if she just sits, it'll be fine. We get her out of the car. She jumps out of the car and she starts dashing through the park. And it's like, how you hear about surging where some people who are about ready to pass away, they have this burst of energy before they cross. And then all of a sudden you think they're going to make a rebound and they end up passing that next day. That's exactly what happened with our dog, and I believe happens to our animals when they cross. She was running through the park with her ears flopping, running through the grass, through the field, happy as a clam. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, are we making a mistake? Is she recovering? Is this like, because this is what happens when they surge, right? You think they're going to rebound. And that's what she was doing. And so I thought, oh my gosh. So we're looking at each other, my husband and I going, oh my gosh. So she's just having the time of her life at the park, running through the park, her tail wagging, her ears flopping. She is happy. So we do our normal lap. And then I said to my husband, let's sit a bit and let's just allow her to take it all in. So we did. She ended up sitting right maybe 3 feet in front of us, not looking at us, looking away from us. And so we're about a few feet from her, and I'm watching her, and I'm just sort of attuning myself. And all of a sudden, in my mind's eye, I see like a half circle move in of this bright white, what looks like kind of the best thing I can describe is white suds from the beach. Like when the ocean crashes and you get this white sudsy kind of, water suds that come at the shore. That's what it looked like. It was like a half circle, like it was coming in a half circle. It was moving in towards her. And I'm seeing all of this right here. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's coming in. It looks like suds. It looks like white suds from the ocean, but it's light. And it's this white light and it's moving into her. And her neck starts perking up and her head starts going up. And she is communicating with this. She is attuning herself with that light, that sudsy, that white suds light that I'm seeing that's moving into her. And I'm looking at this going, oh my gosh. So I didn't see a person. I didn't see an animal. I didn't see any of my loved ones in this half white circle. What I saw was light that was kind of looking like suns, and that she was aware of it, that the dog was aware of it, and the dog was communicating with it. And she was alert, and she perked up, and her neck went up, and her head kind of went up, and she was like this. And it was so obvious that she was listening to that light. And I was sitting back and I was watching it all. I wasn't even telling my husband at that time because I was kind of paying attention to everything and what was going on. And that's what she was doing. And this went on for like, I don't know, 15 minutes. And then it was starting to get late because the vet was coming to the house. And so we had to leave. And so we took the dog and we brought her in the car and we took her to Burger King because I wanted to give her a double cheeseburger before she transitioned. And so we went to Burger King, got her double cheeseburger and fries. And then we drove home. And then another very interesting thing happened. So we get home, and this dog, by the way, and I just want to say, and you might have pets that are the same, they don't leave your side. They're never more than a foot away from you or 2 feet from you. If you get up and walk away, they get up with you, right? That's how our dog was. And I'm sure for many of you, it's the same, right, with your animals. And so we got home, we fed her the burger and the fries and all that. And then we opened up the sliding door because my husband and I said, let's let her, pass outside in the sun because she'll like that and she loves the yard. And so that's what we were going to do. So we opened up the doors and my husband and I sat outside on the couch, which is like a covered. The dog walks out and she has no more communication with us. She's literally detaching from us. She goes right outside. She picks her spot in the yard and she parks it there. It's about maybe 20 feet from us. She could see us, but she's not even looking at us. She could see us if she wanted to. She's giving us no attention at all. She found her spot where she wanted to be. We're sitting 20 feet away. She doesn't sit by us. She doesn't move by us. She ignores us from the cheeseburger on. She does not give us any attention. She goes there and she parks it in that spot and she does not move. We are out there for 50 minutes. Doesn't move. She's watching everything in the yard. She's taking everything in. She's listening to every sound. It's almost like she was taking one last look of everything. She was just taking one last look, and it felt like in complete gratitude and appreciation is how it seemed. It was like this gratitude of what she was seeing, the gratitude of what she was watching, the gratitude of where she was. There was this sense of that. But again, not one iota was she giving us any attention at all. She was basically ignoring us. She was detaching from us. That night before was for us. The day of the passing was for her. And I strongly believe that what transpired at the park with that white light that moved into her was telling her what to do. It was giving her instructions. Because when she came home, she knew exactly what she was going to do. It was like, go here, there, she went and found her spot, she parked, and she did not leave that spot. The vet shows up at the house. I get up to get the door and to let her in. The dog does not leave the spot. Anytime somebody comes to the house, she comes. She did not leave that spot. The vet comes out. The vet comes and sits. And the vet goes to the dog. The dog stands up, greets the vet. Joe and I already decided, since she was sitting there for 50 minutes, that was her spot. That's what she wanted. So we went and brought her bed there. And so we brought the bed there, and as soon as we brought the bed there, the doctor had shown up. The dog greeted the doctor. We put the bed there. She literally greeted the doctor, said hello to her, got into the bed, and went right down like she was ready. And it gave us a lot of peace to know that. It's like she had done all the things. She had said our beautiful goodbye that night that lasted all night long. She gave us love. She consoled our hearts. She had her last walk at the park. She was communicating with this light at the park. She knew what she had to do. She knew what the steps were, and she did those steps. And then the lap of love, the vet, did the process and gave her one little shot that put her, a little bit relaxed, and she was snoring. She went into the snoring, and we were petting her, and she was out like a light, but still there. And then, and then the next one was, her to pass. And it was the most gentle, most peaceful passing anyone could ever hope and dream to have. It was beautiful, and we're very happy we were able to do that because our last dog passed away on the operating table, on a cold operating table at the veterinarian, and it kind of haunted us all these years. And so, anyway, so then this the dog is has now gone to the spirit world. I make the vet check her heart 5 or 6 times. I check it again. I made her stay longer just to make sure. And then we kind of wrapped her up in her blanket, and we kind of swaddled her in her blanket in her bed, and we let them go out that way. So anyway, the next morning, this was 5:30 on Friday night. Saturday morning, it's 8:30. I have come back from Pilates. My husband, I was waiting at the house for my husband to come back. He was at the gym. And we started receiving messages from Zoe. So the first message, and these first two signs, signals, messages from her came, I say really close simultaneously. I can't prove that because Joe was at the gym and I was at the house, but the timeline kind of matched up where it was like kind of almost in sync, similar times, maybe within a few minutes. So my husband, when we lost our dog on the operating table years ago in 2000, a long time ago, 2008 or Joe has had the picture of that dog on his screensaver since then. So how many years is that? A long time, right? So it's been a really long time. So, years, right? Since like 2008. So he's had this picture of our first dog as a screensaver. He comes out of the gym. This is like, 14 hours after, 5:30 she passed. It's like 8:30 the next morning. So I don't have to do the math. 15 hours. He comes out of the gym, looks at his phone because he's checking his messages, and all of a sudden, the screensaver photograph is no longer our dog from before, it's now Zoe. His picture changed from the first dog to the second dog. So from our first dog, it was there since 2008. He walks out of the gym 15 hours after Zoe passed, and that picture is now Zoe. And he didn't do it. You tell me that's not a message. And what's beautiful about this message for my husband is different than it would be a message for me, because I never had our dog as a screensaver ever. It was always, that was the thing my husband did with our first dog. So that was kind of his thing, right? And Zoe in the spirit world knew what would be the right message to give my husband to let her know she's all right. So switching that photograph, which seems impossible, happened. And so I always say, never limit the spirit world and never limit your dogs either, or your cats or any of your animals. The spirit world is limitless. And so that happened. But what was beautiful about it is it was so specific to my husband because he always had the screensaver of our other dog. And the fact that it just switched while he was working out at the gym was unbelievable. So obviously that touched his heart deeply. Now, I got 2 messages. The one I'm going to tell you now, you might think is a little far-fetched, but it isn't. When I give messages as a medium, I love when loved ones in the spirit world talk about writing. They talk about letters. For instance, I had a husband that came in that talked about his wife just finding his vows that he hand wrote for their wedding day, and she just came across these. So that's, like writing, right? So I love that. That was so meaningful for that wife to get that as a message. I had a son that came in that told his mom that he wrote poetry and that he wrote a poem about his mom and that she has that poem, that she found that poem in all of his poetry that she came across after he passed. That was very meaningful to that mother because the poem was about her and her son had written it for her. So that was very meaningful. There was a lot of, like, when spirit comes and gives things like that, I find that to be such beautiful messages. And I love giving things like that when it happens. And so that's really like something that's special to me. So that morning at 8:30, when I was waiting for my husband to come back from the gym as he's receiving that photograph on his phone, I open up a drawer randomly, and I've only been in this house not even 2 years. So there's not any like there's nothing in these drawers from years ago, right? Because everything is pretty cleaned out and kind of start fresh, right? You spring clean when you move. So I opened up a drawer in my kitchen and there was an envelope and it said Zoe. I opened up the envelope thinking it's a vet bill or it's, something, I don't know, like, because we had her at the vet so often recently. I opened it and it was a letter and it said, I am thankful for my family. Love, Zoe. And it had her paw print. Now, Lap of Love gave us a paw print of her, but also that's a letter. That's kind of like a mom getting that poetry from her son. That's kind of like the wife who received, where she found her husband's vows that he hand wrote for her at their wedding day, things like that. That was something that would be really important for me. Now, yes, a dog cannot write it, but this is something that showed up out of nowhere. And years ago, I had to think about this. Years ago, I had given my dog, I had taken my dog over Thanksgiving, like I'm talking about 10 years ago, to I boarded her over Thanksgiving because we had traveled, and they must have done that at that boarding camp, for the dog. But how weird that I would find that little letter in my drawer 15 hours after, or 16 hours after she passed away. And that it was kind of in a letter form, kind of like how I love to give messages. So that was very personal to me. My husband wouldn't have thought much about that, but the picture for him was perfect. So we have to understand, like, when we get messages from our loved ones, whether it be our family or whether it be our animals, it has to be something that touches us, that's particular and specific for us, that will move our hearts. And that is one of the messages that my dog gave me almost simultaneously to my husband's. Fast forward now, a few days ago, I was doing readings and I was, I guess, still kind of open, because, it takes a little while to close. I'm in between sessions. So I stepped outside in my backyard and I stepped outside where Zoe had passed. And I just stood there and I closed my eyes and I put my head up into the sun and I just kind of imagined my heart opening and I sent her love. And I told her I missed her. And I was communicating to her. And then I finish and I walk back inside because I have to get ready for my next reading. And I'm walking in my kitchen and I'm passing my kitchen counter. My husband's phone is on the counter, which he never is without his phone, so that's weird. But anyway, his phone was right on the counter. And as I walk right by, the phone goes off and it sings the song, Spirit in the Sky. You guys know that song? Spirit in the Sky? And as the song is playing, Zoe's picture is on the phone. I couldn't believe my eyes. And my husband, as this was happening, walks out and sees this happening. And he goes, what the? And I'm like, I know, can you believe this? So again, I love that song, and it's a song that I dance to all the time. When it's a song I often dance to be honest. And it wasn't on my phone; it was on my husband's phone, sitting on the counter, and her photo popped up, and the song played as I was just walking by, so it caught my attention. And so that's a message from my beautiful girl. So messages come and signs come in all different ways, and we should never limit the possibility of it coming in a big way just because there are animals. They can give you wonderful messages in big, wonderful ways. So I always say, you should receive a message from your loved ones or your animals that would be heartfelt and meaningful in particular to you, right? That song isn't as important to my husband, but it's very meaningful to me because I always dance to it. But it was on his phone, you see? And also just that. So, anyway, so that was another kind of sign that let me know that she was okay. But I think the takeaway from all of this was that our fur babies do not transition to the spirit world alone. And although that day at the park I did not see a person, I did not see an animal coming in, what I saw was light moving in to her and her paying attention to that light and almost getting the instructions of what to do next. And she was guided from the spirit world. So that was enough evidence for me to know that our fur babies don't transition to the spirit world alone, that they are guided and and the spirit world come for them just like they would our parents or our children or anyone else that has moved to the spirit world. And that gave me a lot of peace and that gave me a lot of comfort. What about you? What do you think about that? I haven't really talked about you guys. No, Evie, she did not suffer at all. Hi, Wendy. My English bulldog, Rosie, just passed, so I'm very interested. Good, honey. And I know that I'm sorry that your doggy passed. I know that it is, there's a quote I'm going to share later in just a minute, but it is, our animals are so important to us. And I think that you always know you love them and you always know that they are so devoted to you. But boy, when they go to the spirit world, that absence, that 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 it's enormous. I mean, my house was so quiet that I actually had to leave my house for a week to just deal with it. Because she was such a part of our life and she was so a part of every room in this house. Anyway, so I don't know if you guys have questions also, but I wanted to kind of share that because dogs in the spirit world, cats in the spirit world. I mean, I bring in all sorts of animals, and they give you particular things. They don't just. And I never say I'm an animal communicator. I don't call myself that, but I get a lot of animals that come in. And if you have an animal in the spirit world that wants to communicate, they're going to make themselves known, right? Whether you're doing whatever kind of mediumship reading you are doing. And what they decide to kind of bring is always going to be something that's going to be particular for you. So when you receive a message, like let's say you do a mediumship session and you receive a message from your animals, it's got to be more than, oh, your fur baby loves you. Oh, your baby loves you. No, we know that. We know your baby loves you. We know your fur baby loves you. What are they going to give you that's going to let you know that it's them, right? So I had somebody I had a lady that came to me just for her pets. And I brought in like 4 or 5 of her animals. And I said, one of your dogs is telling me that you have a photograph of her laying in this field of flowers and that you keep it in your home. Do you understand this picture of your dog? I think it's an Australian Shepherd. And she goes, oh my God, it was an Australian Shepherd. Oh my God. And yes, I have that picture. And she showed me the picture of her laying in the field of flowers. I said, wonderful. And then she talked about how that was a special day for her and her dog. And so that's a very particular message for that lady, right? I had dogs that came in and say, you made a 12-month calendar of your dog. And April and July and October and November and December, they were all in costume. costume photographs. Oh my gosh, yes. And then she showed me the calendar that she made. I said, I have a dog that says she has a whole wardrobe of clothing, that you always dressed her up in clothes. And she has a whole full on clothing wardrobe. And she goes, oh my God, I do. Yes. And all these kind of things. So there's particular things that the dogs will speak, or your cats will tell you, or whatever it is. I've had wolves come in that talked about how they had that the wolf came to them and they nurtured that wolf back to health. It was like a pup wolf, and it was very injured, and they rescued that wolf, and it was wild, and rescued that wolf and made it their pet, and that wolf came in and talked about that. And so, when you get messages from your animals, and they're wonderful communicators, they really are, and they will tell you particular things and specific things. It's not just you have their collar or you have their tags. It's about, I had a lady just, I said, your dog tells me you have a watercolor photograph of them that's on the wall that you had made for them. And I said, and it's in the room that you're sitting in. I couldn't see anything on the walls. And then she moved her camera and showed me the watercolor portrait that she had done for her dog. And so our dogs are with us just like our loved ones, our dads, our moms, or anyone that we have in the spirit world. And, so they are wonderful, wonderful communicators. And I wanted you to know that. Hi, Linda. Oh my gosh. So emotional, Evie says. Hi, Sule. You guys are really strong for having been through so much. Totally a tough experience. It really was. Perhaps Zoe sent the message that she was with you previous and she was okay. Yes. Our animals are. Hi, Bunny. Thank you, Melissa. Hi, Sally. Um, Hi, Allie. How are you? Hi, Jane. Thank you for the hearts. So many messages. Hi, Bunny. Definitely love knowing they are with us. Really, they are. And I think it brings a lot of comfort. And that's really why I want to share is because although these are my experiences and maybe not exactly your experiences, but to know that if I can have these experiences with my doggie that passed, then you can have these experiences too. And if my dog is letting me know that she arrived at the spirit world, the next day, then obviously your animals want you to know the same thing. Do we pay attention? Do we expect certain signs to be certain things, or are we open to receive them in other ways? I think sometimes we might limit, like, we need to hear it this way, we need to see this. And I think that sometimes we have to be willing to allow our loved ones, our pets, to communicate with us in the way that they can easily communicate their message of love to us in the way that's going to be best for them to give it to the medium or give it to you. And so I think always be really open. And I would not in a million years would have thought that my husband's telephone photo would have just swapped out like that. I would never have thought that would be a message. I wouldn't have asked for that. I wouldn't have thought to ask for that. And yet it happened, right? I didn't think in a million years that she would play Spirit in the Sky right after I just sat outside and sent her love and let her know I missed her. And then 30 seconds later, she drops that song as I pass by. But I think it's important that we welcome the signs in the way that they can give them to us. And that goes for any of our loved ones in the spirit world. I speak to you today as like a medium. Just allow it to come the way that, I had this woman, I had this girl that I gave her reading to. And she was, I don't know, maybe 30 or 20 in their late 20s. And I brought in her dad, and I was giving her, all these messages and these readings. And she said, and here's an example why that you can't exactly tell your loved one exactly what to give. And here's an example of this. And this is not an animal, this is a loved one. But this is why it's good not to be so specific on what you have to hear. And here's a reason why. So this girl I was giving a reading to, I gave her this wonderful evidential reading of her father, blah, blah, blah. And then we finished the reading, and she says, gosh, though, I really wanted him to give me a certain word to let me know it was him. And I said, well, you got so much information from your dad. He told you so much. You should be happy with all that he came forward and addressed. She goes, I really wanted that one word. And I said, okay. So I just closed my eyes and I just spoke to her dad and I said, what's the word? what does she want you to say? And I just asked the dad. And then I said to her, your dad wants me to tell you the word ice skate. Is there something prominent about an ice skate? An ice skate. And she like nearly fell off the chair. And she says, oh, that was the word. The word was ice. And I said, okay. Now, your father gave me ice skate, not ice. She goes, I can still accept it because the word ice is in there. And I said, great. I'm happy that you'll accept that. I said, but I want you to understand why he had to give it to me as an ice skate and not ice. If your dad would have given me in my mind a picture of ice, a block of ice, an ice cube, something like that, in my mind, I could have confused that with a block of cocaine. I could have thought, was your dad a drug dealer? Did he have a block of cocaine? Because I'm seeing this block that looks like a block of cocaine, but it was really an ice. Or he could have shown me a glass of ice, but then I would have thought, oh, was your dad a drinker? Was your dad a drinker? I could have interpreted that ice a lot of different ways, right? But ice skate, all I had was the image of an ice skate. And I can't confuse an ice skate. I can confuse a glass of ice thinking, oh, maybe it was a drinker, something like that. Or was it the ice or was it the glass that he was trying to get across? But ice skate, all I saw was ice skate. So I knew I just have to say that. And that was a way for him to get me to say the word ice without confusing my mind, making it into a block of cocaine or a drinker or anything like that. Does that make sense? And so we have to allow our loved ones to give us things the way that is going to be best for the medium to receive, the best way to be able to get them to do it where it will be easiest and not confusing, right? So that's just kind of a little example of why it's kind of good to not be so demanding or specific on I need to hear it this way or I need to see just this. It may not be as easy for them to give you that exact way. It might be better to do it a little bit differently. Anyway, so what do you guys think? What do you think about this, about your pets in the spirit world? I found so much comfort in knowing that the spirit world kind of came for the dog at the park, that they were actually communicating with her. And it was okay that I didn't know who it was, but I clearly knew it was spirit, and I clearly knew they were coming for her, and I clearly knew she was in communication with it, and I clearly knew she was good with it. And that's okay with me, right? And I know if that's with my dog, it's with yours too. And if it's with my dog, it's with your kitty cats too. And if it's with my dog, it's with your birds, and it's your horse, and it's your any of your animals. Because if they're doing it with my dog, they're doing it with all of our animals. But we often say, I know that my mom transitioned and her dad met her, or they'll give you information in readings, but we never really hear about who went and greeted the dog, who went and greeted the kitty cat, who went and how did they transition? And it's so comforting to know that our loved ones, our babies, our fur babies, are also guided into the spirit world, and they don't go alone either. Now, I know once we get there, they're with our family members. I know that 100 times over because I've given tons of readings that way, in different ways. But the whole transition from preparing her to actually go to the spirit world, I found incredibly fascinating. And I found it to be, she was so in tuned, and the way she had to detach from us in order to leave, like if she was like she was the night before with us while we were all in bed, I don't know if she would have been able to do it. Like it was such an emotional time that she had to do that night so that she was clear and being able to step away from us to actually be able to step into the spirit world and be able to leave us. Because let's face it, our dogs, our cats, they love us to pieces. Our animals are devoted to us. They unconditionally love us. They would do anything for us. They're right by our side. They will do anything. They don't want, they want to make us happiest. And it would have been maybe really hard to do that if she had to pass the night before, the way we were all saying goodbye. But how beautiful that she gave us such a lovely gift of a goodbye. And I will cherish that night. I will cherish that night for the rest of my life. But I just wanted you guys to kind of know, because I found it really interesting. I hope you did too. For me, I found it very fascinating. And yeah, Anyway, hi Edith, how are you? Hi Coley. Hi Amy, how are you? Hi Pat. Hi Allie. Hi Elevate Your Energy. How are you? Hi Sadna. Hi Wanda. How are you guys? Thank you all for coming. Hi Mags. Bowman. Okay, so let me just see. Hi Melissa. Can animals reincarnate back to you? Um, you know what? Here's the thing about reincarnation. I can't prove it. So I don't talk about it because it, like in mediumship, I'm an evidential medium. So because I'm an evidential medium, I'm bringing forward information that you as a client can validate, that you can actually say, yes, that's true. Yes, that happened. Yes, that was their personality. Yes, I did do that. Yes, they were like that. Yes, we did go there. Yes, we did. Yes, she always said that. Yes, she always wore that. There's got to be things that you can validate because I'm an evidential medium. I need to bring forward your loved ones in a way that will let you know for sure it's them. Animals and loved ones, same. I have to treat it the exact same way when I'm working for you and working with them. In reincarnation, there's no way to validate that. I don't know how to validate that. I'm not saying it isn't possible. I'm not saying it isn't true. I just don't know how to validate it. So because of that, I kind of steer clear from it. But it's not that I doubt it. I just can't prove it. Make sense? So I only want to deal with what I can give you value in proving to you is so. Yeah. Wendy says she had lymphoma. I turned on Facebook right as this started. It was at the top of my feed. I think she wanted me to watch this. Hi, Wendy, about your loved one. Yeah, your doggy. And you know, listen, I mean, isn't timing perfect all the time? And I'll tell you, the spirit world, our animals included, love FaceTime, love digital. That's why Zoe could give my husband that picture on his phone digitally and electronically. That's why she was able to put that music on the telephone right as I walked by and played that specific song that's very particular to me. That's why. That's why that feed came up right at that right time for you to see. That makes you think of your loved ones. It's like a message from your loved one. That is a sign, Wendy. You see, that is a sign. When it shows up just like that and it makes you think of them, that is a sign, right? So, I mean, it's signs are coming all the time. Are we seeing it like that? You know, because I think if you start doing it, you will feel the comfort of knowing that they're around you. Let's see. Hi, Tracy. As painful as it is, that was a beautiful gift, 100%. And so nice to see you here, Tracy. Shirley, does it feel different for you when a pet comes through? Nope. I'm telling you that when I'm bringing forward information that is being expressed from pets in the spirit world, they're amazing communicators. They're amazing communicators. Communication is based on love. And let's face it, our animals love us and they are filled with love. And so, of course, they have so much power to communicate because of that love. So, no, I don't really feel anything different whatsoever. None. And they have communicated amazing things. So no, Evie, animals are so spiritual in a different world of intuition. Yes, predicting events way before it would happen, like earthquakes or what else. When my sister got sick, but not knowing what she had, her dog kept on licking her and not leaving her side. Yeah, I hear that about animals doing that. They don't leave their side and they do that. I've heard that to be so. How lovely for your sister to have a dog like that, right? To be right there for her to help her. Sherry, I believe my Coco who passed away sent my new rescue dog to me. Oh my God, yes. That's a whole nother thing. When our first dog passed away yes, I totally believe that, darling. 100%. I totally believe what you're saying. When our dog passed away on the operating table, our first one, our first golden, 2 months later, we got Zoe. And here's interesting. Zoe was the right dog for us, but we were on a dog rescue trying to get dogs. And I wanted these twin boys, these two boy Goldens, Brandon and I don't know, Jake or something. I don't know what the dogs were, but they're two brothers. And I wanted both of those dogs. I didn't want to separate them. They came together. I had a big house with a yard. I wanted both of them. I was working from home. The rescue company, the rescue, Golden Retriever Rescue, would not give me those dogs. I was so offended. It's like, what are you talking about? I work from home. I'm good. I don't have young kids. We don't have, everything's perfect. We had a golden. We know how it works. Like, we would be a perfect candidate. Like, why are you not letting me have these boy dogs? Like, I was mad. I was like really angry about it. So I'm like, what's the matter with you? Okay, we would be good dog parents. But turns out they weren't right. We ended up moving so many times that way. And it wasn't. They would have been too hyper for what our life was. And then Zoe came, and she's really chill and really mellow. She was really injured, and she really gave me the nurturing that I needed because my kids were both off in college, and I was an empty nester, and I hated it. And I was able to, like, be that kind of mama, and she was the perfect dog for us. And at the time I was so mad I didn't get the boy dogs, but they really weren't right for us. And so I believe that the right dog comes to us. And I have a quote about that, actually. It says, like, what does it say here? What does it say? Dogs have a way of finding the people who need them and filling an emptiness we didn't know we had. I mean, I had no idea how sad I was being an empty nester until I got that dog. And yeah, so I think that we get the right animal for us. And I think trust and faith. And as mad as I was, I didn't get those boy dogs. I'm so happy I didn't, because Zoe was the best gift my husband and I ever could have had. And she was the perfect dog for us. And yeah, so I believe that, Sherry, 100%. Linda, I clearly knew my 21-year-old kitty was good with her transition when she just buried her head in my armpit when the vet came. See, she was, but how lovely that you got to hold her, right? I mean, how wonderful for that. And that's kind of a gift that we give them, right? Being able to, and honestly, as hard as it is to put our animals down, I mean, it's not an easy decision, right? We always toy with it. I mean, even to the last minute, when with my dog, I was second guessing, even knowing the outcome and knowing the results of the blood work. But it's still hard, right? But I believe we really give such a gift to them because we do put them out of their misery. We do allow them to do it in a wonderful, peaceful way. We are there able to hold them, whether it's at the vet or whether it's in our backyard. However we are able to do it, we're able to be there for them. And that's a gift that we give them. And I know that they appreciate that. I know that. I know I brought through an animal once that went through this whole step process of their mom putting her down in the whole process of it, and the rainbow blanket that she wrapped her in, and all these different things, and how she was so thankful that she didn't have any more shots. The cat said she was diabetic, and how they were. And anyway, it was like such a wonderful gift that mom had given her cat, being able to put her down because she didn't like all the shots all the time, and she was just anyway. So I mean, we give that to them as well by allowing them a peaceful passing. Although it is hard for us, that's our unconditional love to our animals, isn't it? Linda, she was so full of love and trust, 100%. Hi, Lucy. Thank you so much, Monica. I'm glad, Wendy. No coincidence. Oh, hang on. I'm looking here. Sandy, both my dogs passed on the same day, 4 years apart. Whoa. I had to make that decision to put them down. I never realized that until a memory popped. One was my son's dog, and that made it even more difficult for me. Thank you for sharing your story. You're welcome, Sandy. I'm sorry about. Isn't that a coincidence? With the same day, 4 years apart. There's a little something there too, isn't there? I mean, I don't believe in any coincidences at all, ever. No, I don't believe in any coincidences at all. Let me just see if I'm missing anybody here. I'm looking, reading, Zoe. Want to talk to you sometime about my fur babies. This has been my favorite of your lives. Oh, thank you, Melissa. Oh, you made it, Melissa. I thought you were going to have to work. So I'm so happy you sent something that you wanted to make it be out of work. So I'm happy you made it. Please do, Melissa. I know. I listen. Here's what I know. I know that the spirit world is a beautiful place. And I know that from all the ways that your own loved ones have come in and have given messages about the experience that they're having there, and the things that they're doing there that they used to love doing here, and all the different things. I mean, I'm 100% certain of the beauty of that spirit world, and that our loved ones are well, and I know that our animals are too. And I just was happy to know that our animals get guided to the spirit world too. That just because they're an animal, not a human, that they don't get any different treatment when they go to the spirit world. I was really happy to know that, because sometimes, let's face it, our animals are more loving than even some humans, right? sometimes. Anyway, hi Max, how are you? I'm saying hi to all you guys. Sorry, I've been ignoring you guys a little bit. I'm sorry. My dog Bear did that too. Really? Oh, I remember, Sadhna, your dog. It was like one of those big dogs. Um, God, that dog was gorgeous. He even did TV shows, didn't he? Didn't your dog? Wasn't your dog even on TV, honey? Um, Hi, Allie. Let's see. The story was so touching and so informative. I'm happy. Paula, thank you for sharing that. Monica, so special. Do you guys have any questions for me at all? I have another quote too. How lucky I am to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard. Winnie the Pooh, right? I'm sure you've heard that quote before, but I thought it's kind of touching when it comes to our animals because until one has loved an animal, a part of one's soul remains unawakened. What do you think about that? It's pretty deep, right? Until one has loved an animal, a part of one's soul remains unawakened. I love that. Heartbreak is life educating us. George Bernard Shaw. Love knows not its own depth until the hour of separation. And isn't that true when we lose our animals, right? I mean, I tell you, I thought I was going to be all together. I thought I was ready and I was prepared. I cried my eyes out the night before. We're doing everything well. We're doing the right thing. We're doing it in the best way we possibly can. And yet I had been a mess. So that just shows you that love knows not its own depth until the hour of separation. I really resonate with that one. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this live, and I just wanted to kind of share with you guys. If you guys have any questions, I'm here to answer them, but if not, then I'll chime out. These comments come in late. Let's see. Coming. Hi, Lori. Evie says, I'm a strong believer that I will be reunited with my previous dogs that I grew up with. Yes. As a matter of fact, I gave a reading with a woman and her childhood, and she was in her 70s. Her childhood dog came through really, really strong. And it was a lovely reconnection for her. And it made her so happy. And this was a dog that passed, I don't know, 50 years ago, more, 60 years ago. And it was the only pet she ever had. And it was a really beautiful, beautiful messages that she got from her childhood pet. So yes, I agree, Evie. I believe we will absolutely be with our animals again, no matter how long ago they've been on the other side. And it doesn't matter if anybody, whether it be a loved one, or an animal, it doesn't matter how long they've been in the spirit world. They come. So it could be 60 years. It could be 6 hours. It doesn't matter. The spirit world is right there. Once they connect, once they get there, they can communicate, and they do, and they want to. So anyway, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this live. I wanted to just kind of share a little bit because I found the experience to be very helpful for me. And so I feel if it's helpful for me, it might be helpful for you too. And that's why I wanted to share my story of my beautiful dog and her transition and all of that. So anyway, you guys take care. You be amazing. And I thank you so much for joining in and sharing the night with me and spending a little bit of time. So you guys be amazing. And until next time, okay, I will see you again. Bye.